Hello, I'm Todd Philips, the editor of Canadian Auto Dealer. We're here today with Todd Bourgon, the executive director of the Trillium Automobile Dealer Association. Todd, thanks for joining us.
It's good to be here, Todd. Nice to see you again.
Well, I understand you just got back. Good to see you as well. You just got back from the Philippines as part of this international foreign worker program. We talked before you went about this need to really fill some roles, some critical need within the dealerships and in the industry. So tell us about your experience going to the Philippines.
Yeah, we were in Manila for almost a week, and we met. Well, we didn't meet them. We met the candidates obviously via Zoom prior to going there. And our purpose of being there in person was to take them through a series of both practical tests, written tests, and again another set of verbal interviews to make sure that their resumes matched up with their skill sets. So that's what we were there to do, and that's what we did. And now we're back, and we've got I'm sure lots that you and I can talk about, and lots planned for the future.
Well, I guess yeah. So the program, for those who haven't followed it, is basically there's such a shortage of technicians within dealerships in Canada. The programs aren't graduating enough candidates to fill the ranks. So really, you're searching overseas with a team that goes over and assesses them both in terms of, are they a good fit? Do they really want to come to Canada? Do they want to set up shop here? There's that part of it. But you also go with the team that are really assessing the technical level. Tell us about your instructor that went over and really put these people through the paces, and a bit about the resumes we were talking earlier that kind of surprised you, if you will, how rich they were in terms of their experience.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, to take a quick step back, I mean, you touched on it. I mean, one of the biggest pain points in our industry right now is skilled labor. And so, we have been for a number of years been addressing that through a number of different initiatives, whether it's been through the current school system, or even prior to COVID, we were looking at doing something like this, where we looked at other countries to bring in skilled trades, but COVID set us back like it did everybody else a couple of years. And during COVID, the problem just got worse, and it's just gotten worse through natural factors. People have gotten to a point in their careers where it's either time for them to retire, or maybe they want to make a career choice, or as you know, we're still growing our industry, and you need people to put in those dealerships. So that's fundamentally the issue. What we saw over there, and how we handled things first and foremost, is we met the candidates here via Zoom, and would pre-qualify them based on resumes that were submitted through the agency that we work with in the Philippines. And it's Rachel's group. We met Rachel the last time you and I talked. It's her group that filters those. So like any other HR process, you may get 100 resumes, but you may choose to only see 50. And then we made our way over to the Philippines. We recruited a gentleman by the name of George Parsons that was, impartial to the process. He doesn't work for a dealership. He's 30 years teaching at the college level in auto technology, and holds 5 different certifications. So very well versed, whether it's in obviously fixing new cars, but also has his ticket in air brakes, large truck, heavy equipment, a number of another field. So huge bonus for us. So we take George with us, and we literally set up almost like a lab environment, where we have 3 vehicles. One vehicle's on a lift where the candidates come and demonstrate that they can diagnose brakes, tell us whether or not the brakes need work done on them. If so, what needs to be done on them, what the spec is from the OEM that they currently work for, the shop that they're in. And while that's taking place, George is actually working with them on where they identify faults on new vehicles. We have 2 new vehicles that are there. He creates faults in them. They identify the faults, they correct the faults, and reset the vehicle. And then, like anything else, we would give them a rating, and we write a report on their ability to or inability to do that. So process is definitely very interesting, quite thorough. But it really gives you a chance to see how the individuals can work under stress, because as you can appreciate, to a lot of these people, this is a chance of a lifetime for them. So when they come and have to perform in person, they're definitely under a lot of stress. And so those that are able to perform, you definitely know that there's something there than just the resume. And then you touched on the resume piece. Well, we obviously got to see them before we went there, but I can give you a bit of a snapshot that we're seeing people that had been at different brands, whether I'll name a few, say Toyota, Honda, Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz, some older, not older, but some brands that are out of our market now, but still strong in Japan, Suzuki, Isuzu, GM. I mean, you name it. We pretty much saw the gamut of them where they had worked either in the Philippines or abroad. Saudi is a great ground that they go to work in. And most of the candidates that we saw had either worked outside of the country, or all of them were certainly willing to. And that's normal for people that are in the Philippines. That a large majority of their population goes outside of country to work just because the opportunities are not there in their own country. And they either send money back home or try and move their families to where they are.
And so, what's the next step now? So that you've gone and you've tested this group, and I know that there's other trips coming. But what's
Yep.
sort of next in the process? You've got a number of dealers who are sort of sponsored or put their hands up, saying, "Look, I will take some of these candidates or cohorts once they sort of set up shop in Canada." So what's the next step, and what is sort of the timeline when the first group that you met, may be expected to be in Canada? It's not within weeks. There's a bit of steps they have to go through yet.
Yeah, there's a big portion of this, as you can appreciate, that's controlled by the government, right? And that's the paperwork side. But the side that we can control is that the next steps is that the day after we did all the practicals, Rachel and her team take them through a full day of verbal interviews. All those interviews are recorded, as are the practicals, by the way. They're all recorded. And she then compiles them with all of our comments into basically a dashboard, and then presents them to the dealers back in Ontario that have put their hands up based upon some of the criteria that they've given to her as what they're looking for. Some dealerships are looking for people that are entry level, apprentice level, and they want to basically groom them themselves. Other dealers are looking for, say, level 3 or level 4. And the beauty of having George with us is that he's able to give us an indication as to where he thinks that they would test from an assessment level here in Ontario, because no one's certificate is transferable, doesn't matter where you go. And that's certainly a bonus to us as well. So the dealerships that we can do all of them. It's impossible. We have well over 100 headcount requests right now. So the first cohorts will be presented and have been presented to the dealers that first come, first serve. So they'll see that dashboard, they'll see the written tests, they'll see the interviews, they'll see the practical tests, and then they'll obviously be giving their input to whether or not they think that candidate fits based upon the feedback that they gave. From there, it's really, it goes to the lawyers, it goes to the government, and that paperwork just keeps its process going through. And we would hope to see them here back in Canada, in the next year, if all the stars align correctly. But it sounds like a long time for some people, but the truth is that a lot of dealerships have been waiting a lot longer than that here now, for that next rising star to show up. And it just hasn't happened. So in most cases, I'd say it's certainly worth it.
And if you don't start now, you're not going to have the people you need a year from now. So at some point, you have to start that process of filling the ranks. And I imagine as you do more of these trips, there's more and more candidates. So speak a little bit about, next steps. I understand you're about to leave the country again and then again. So this is a real commitment, both for the association and on behalf of your dealers, to be conducting this multiple times in the coming weeks and months.
Yeah, it is. It is a commitment, and the board and our executives certainly saw it as it's a need for the dealers, and this is not something that it's easy for a dealer just to go do on their own. It is a little bit of the Wild West. If you start the process just with an immigration lawyer, then the clock's ticking before you even get to understanding what your candidate base looks like. So again, like we see the need for it, and that's why we're doing it. We go back again. I'm not sure when you will air this, so we go back again the first weekend in April to do this all over again. While we're there, we're actually setting up for after we do our testing. The next day, we're actually setting up for a body shop intake. The group that we're working with there is set up a full spray booth. They bought a spray booth and have set it up, so we'll take that group through their paces. And then we go back the beginning of May, and we'll do a combination of auto technician and body shop. So we'll do an extended trip. And then the last trip will be middle of June. And right now we're forecasting that trip should empty the funnel that we have right now of demand. But clearly we haven't done a lot of advertising of this program. And there's been some pretty big demand there. So if the demand if the demand continues like it has right now, then obviously we'll keep doing this in the fall. We won't go back in July and August. It's typhoon season, and quite frankly, it's just too hot there. And so we'll wait to go back when it makes best sense.
Well, thanks for taking the time to explain the program to us. I mean, you've got lots of travel points ahead on your schedule, but really I applaud you for, on behalf of dealers, helping take a very proactive stance to just trying to improve the skilled worker shortage, and if these people are going to come to Canada, happy to be here. It could be some great success stories down the road, so we're always happy to follow up and watch, certainly even down the road, as these candidates start to take their roles within dealerships. It's a nice to be able to complete that circle down the road. So do keep us in the loop.
We'll definitely keep you in touch, Todd. And I can tell you that when you get to go on these and you actually get to meet the individuals, you can see the hope and the value that they have in this type of an opportunity in the environments that they have. And then some people, certainly I've been to other countries, not for work, but say Vietnam is an example where the dealerships, just don't look like they do here in North America. But a lot of the dealerships that we saw there were very much similar to the working environments that we have here. So their work environment won't be as foreign as, say, maybe the snow or our weather, but that's okay. Everyone can adapt. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to cover this.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for the time today, Todd.
You're very welcome.
Signing off.